My grandma is causing my sleep paralysis. Let me just go ahead and say that me and my grandma hated each other before she passed away. I still hate her if I'm honest. Me and her just never got along, like at all. And she made my life a living hell. It was the greatest day ever when she passed away. Now she's back, but in a ghost/spirit form thing. I see her as the devil. So maybe that's what she is after she died. Never in my life have I ever experienced sleep paralysis until a few days ago. And now I've been experiencing it every single night. I don't know why she's trying to torture me even after she's dead. I'm gonna fall asleep in a few hours and I'll make an update on whether or not she visits me tonight. So it's the next day and she decided to visit me again. This time she was trying to end my life by strangling me. I have red marks around my throat. It's like looking at a walker from The Walking Dead. I knew she was scary when she was live, but she's a lot scarier dead. I haven't had a good night's rest since the day before I first had my sleep paralysis experience with my grandmother. I don't think she will ever leave me alone until the day I die, or even worse, the day I put a gun in my head and pull the trigger. I'm kind of just over it at this point, and I'm ready to end it all. Last night, I of course had another sleep paralysis episode. This time, it wasn't my grandmother. It was a dark figure that did it. I'm not sure what it was about, but I'm talking to a priest today, and he's also an expert in demonology, since I think that's what all this is. I will update all of you as soon as I find out more. After talking to the priest, he said he was gonna bless me and hopefully that will help. I guess I'll give you all an update in the morning. It's been a week since the last time I talked to everyone. The morning after being blessed, she visited me again, and I woke up with a knife in my leg. I don't think I'll ever sleep again. The doctor said if it was a hair to the left, there was a chance I could have lost my leg. As I was recovering in the hospital, I had to stay there for 3 days. Every night I was too afraid to sleep. I was afraid of seeing her. It wasn't until the very last night I stayed there that the doctor finally said that he can give me some drugs to put me to sleep. But of course, I said no. Let's just put it this way, I could barely keep my eyes open, but I had to fight to stay awake. But unfortunately, I failed. Later that night, I fell asleep by accident, but something happened that I wasn't expecting. I was having a lucid dream. I've never had a lucid dream in my entire life. I was asleep, but awake, and I could control everything that was happening. There she was. She was in the corner of my dream, getting ready to put me through hell. I've never had something like this happen to me, so I didn't know how to fight it. I think my grandma was just as shocked as I was when I started talking to her. The look of pure hatred crossed her face because she knew she couldn't do anything to me at that very second. I looked to my right and saw a table with a couple of chairs and asked her to sit down. It felt so weird. It was like I was on some serious drugs and I was tripping. Not that I ever experienced tripping in my entire life. I've always been, I guess, what you want to call a saint, but I guess this is what it feels like. Here's another little update. This is the longest conversation I've ever had with my grandmother. I think we've only said maybe 10 things to each other in the last 2 decades. And usually it's like a fuck you or fuck off or get out of my life. We sat down and had, the typical heart-to-heart conversation. And I turned around and saw a bright light. I thought I was dying for a second. Or maybe I was just waking up. I'm not exactly sure. Before anyone asks what I said to my grandmother, it will always be private. I'm just gonna say this. I hate her just a tiny bit less now. But the next morning I ended up waking up and they took me out of the hospital and I went back home. Later that night I took a deep breath and fell asleep. And in the morning, I woke up with a smile because I knew that me and her were on good terms and I was ready to go on with my life.